You are looking live here at the Daytona International Speedway. It's that time of the year again. It is time for our first official USARC session of Season 3. We have testing for the Aaron's Pro Series. 40 cars, I believe, are here for a 20-minute session around Daytona for drivers to just kind of get their eye in ahead of our Speed Week festivities. And rolling off first is going to be Eli Steelwolf of Radval Engineering Motorsports.
It's going to be really interesting, I think, because it's going to come down to, do you want to run in the draft and learn that, or do you want to learn single car to see where you're going to be for qualifying? So it's going to be interesting to see what teams do, as you see the 4 on track here. So it's going to be interesting, though, for sure here.
Yeah, this is going to act a bit like a season preview as well, because the APS field kind of a continuation in way of the APCS from last year. Many changes throughout the field. So that's Jet Hawksworth running full-time in the renumbered... no, not the renumbered, sorry, the number 4 Target Toyota. Now, FSR have switched to Toyota. He will be make a challenge for the championship. Not a rookie of the year contender, however, as he ran over half of last season, the APCS.
Yeah, looking pretty good right now, though, here. I mean, obviously he's just testing and no real draft right now, so I guess this might be a pre-qualifying sort of run. But we'll see what kind of lap Hawksworth can put down here, I suppose. But Hawksworth might get some draft help here as guys come off the pit road.
And we've got
could also get impeded, as we see Hawksworth is going to come out among some FSR teammates. That is Luna Bennington running in the number 51. Obviously running the ANCS full-time this season, but she, I believe, will make select starts in that car. And just ahead of Jet Hawksworth will be one of his teammates full-time this season. That is the 42 of Zachary Fitzwater Sr., and it looks like that Hawksworth's going to jump up to the outside. And 50.070 will be the time for everyone to chase early on.
Yeah, about 2 tenths up on the 80 and about a tenth up or so, or about half a tenth on the 07. So that's probably about where we'd expect, I'd say at least.
At least out of the draft, yeah. I mean, see what's the 4 doing down the back straight? Yeah, about 180. I think in the draft it can get up to about 186, 87, as Joe Zeller has just gone quickest. In the 24 he is driving in the AP this season.
I believe some people do with the draft, though. Here, that is going to help you out quite a bit.
So we'll talk some more silly season. Joe Zeller, his team, Joe Zeller Racing, formed a technical partnership with Radval Engineering Motorsports. The tie-in is he's driving this 24, though that team is a bit poorly funded. At the head of this train is Peter Onjak, Season 1 APCS champion. He'll be running this 41 full-time in just a testing livery right now. Behind them, it is J.R. Bedard continuing his ascension with 555 Engineering. He'll be piloting the 55 full-time this season. And here is the 08 of Seth Bayless for Toyota Gazoo Racing. Put in a very good run in the part-time Soaring Seagulls Racing 00 at Memphis, and that has landed him this ride full-time with Toyota Gazoo Racing.
It's a very interesting start here. 43s. It's 94 struggling a bit right here, even without the draft. Gonna try and block.
Yeah, that's a Graham Radball in the 94 this season, a newly opened JZR entry. Bit of a team owner exception moment here, if you will, with Zeller in the Radball owned car and Radball in the Zeller owned car. Both teams now working together in a strategic partnership, and it'll be interesting to see where that takes both teams this season. Obviously, one team in that partnership, JCR, being very well funded in comparison to Radval Engineering Motorsports, but I think for Radval, through this deal, getting a driver like Joe Zeller, they've got a lot of potential to make up some ground this season, as they're in a 00. That's Luke Evans this week.
What a very interesting livery, I must say, for Luke Evans this week.
Bit of off-center number there on that car.
That's the testing livery. SSR brought a couple pretty distinct testing liveries. I don't know where the 09 is, but if we can find that, we'd love to show it to you.
I mean, you won't miss it once you see it.
You won't miss it once you see it. Yeah,
There it is.
There it is. And
With,
behind is another one of our distinctive liveries running the full season. That is the 2 of Hiccup Bush. Will be competing in his first full campaign. This is Dragon Racing, no longer Beacon Penske, as Kyler Sustra has stepped away. And among this pack, we see some more silly season changes. Matthew Hubert coming over to Radfall Engineering in the 66. That is Brendan Morris stepping up to run full-time in the 14. And Isaac Davis in the 53 also stepping up to run full-time. And Hubert is getting a bit racy. Here we go, 3 wide.
A risky move for testing, has to be said.
Yeah, but you can do that here, I feel like. I mean, you can support 3 wide here. If you're in a pack of 5 cars, it seems risky, but it doesn't seem too bad. As right now, best time is a 47.5 from Zachary Fitzwater.
As they're also 3 wide.
Oh.
And pulling onto the pit road is the 01, that is Justin Henley.
Yeah, Henley set to run a few races in the 01 this season, running the 01 in the Granger Truck Series. He's going to split that car with ANCS teammates in Luke Evans and Dick Merlo. And there is a new driver in the 64. That's the Mobile 1 Monte Carlo, driven by Caleb Evans.
It'll be interesting to see. Evans has really not been able to really find his footing in USARC so far, has bounced around in numerous different teams, was able to run full-time last season in GTS for Ronnie Hank Racing, but when it comes to running these cars, whether it be APS or APCS, he has definitely seen some struggles. We see a big pack forming up
This might
here.
be 4 wide right here. This might get sketchy.
Oh dear, guys.
That is Sebastian Galloway Jr. in the 02 for Score Motorsports.
I don't think the run's going to carry.
He wanted to.
Almost.
That is, wow.
Close calls here early on in testing.
You see,
Maybe
playing to the inexperience, this is Galloway's first run in USARC machinery and trying to put it 4 wide. I mean, we saw in the duels and in the 500 last season, 4 wide, especially into turn 3, is not really the place you want to be. You can ask Roach Rotfield how that one ended up for him in the 500.
As right now, at least, though, here, making it work right now, but obviously you don't really want to do that. That's the 46 new driver BPM this year, as BPM has switched over to Dodge.
And yep, so it'll be Dodge is looking to try to really cement itself. Doesn't really have as many as many cars really in the fight as you saw with like the manufacturer standings last season. They don't have like an Onge Auto or a Soaring Seagulls Racing, but they have landed BPM to partner 555 Engineering. Obviously did lose Full Send Racing to Toyota, but it'll be Derek Petty stepping up with BPM in the 46, and this is Carter Swab currently in the 88. Justin Whitmer will be sharing that part-time entry with him. Obviously just a testing livery on that car for today.
I think it's important for Swab because... I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a big opportunity for Derek Petty being in his first season. Is that damage on the... No, I've done it again in the first testing session. I thought there was damage on a car, and there was definitely not damage on the car. But yeah, no, so Derek Petty, I mean, that is the 18 from last year. So I want to spend a little bit talking about certain number changes. That's the 18 from last year. That's the championship winning car. So Derek Petty here got an amazing chance as a Truck Series winner already to mount a championship challenge in his rookie season. Other number changes as well.
Should we talk about FSR?
Yeah, so FSR, a big rebrand, as you can see, switching over to Toyota, switching up their number font as well. You can see the 42, the 4, and the 51 here, all the same numbers from last season. And I want to find the 04 somewhere.
Seth Morgan, not sure where he is.
There he is.
No, that's the 0.
No?
Oh, no, that is a 0.
Not sure where Seth Morgan is at the moment.
The 44 44 from last year. The 84 driven by Anthony Giles. That's the 74 from last season, driven by the driver now of the 44.
Oh, and
Fox. They got 3 wide.
Oh,
the 3
there's
wide
Morgan
there,
up
as we
there.
just saw the
boy.
04, but there's Maston Rimmel taking him 3 wide, and there's the 04 of Seth Morgan. That was the 39 last season, as driven by John McFadden and William Ayers toward the end of the season. Behind is definitely one of the more puzzling silly season moves this season. Angel Gutierrez returns to the 52 team full time, which is all well and good. He won last season at Darlington, but he is not stepping up to the ANCS full time, as most of the main competitors in the APCS from last season are. Instead, Orson Billion, who we'll see in later sessions when the ANCS cars will be running the 52 full time in that series.
Yeah, I find it an interesting move. I mean, Billion was able to get a truck series win late last year, but it seems like a bit of a risk just because we know who Angel Gutierrez is in these lower downforce cars, and that is a very talented driver. We don't know what Orson Billion is yet in that sort of package.
Well, I mean, if the cup car is going to be a bit like higher downforce, maybe they might drive a bit more similar to the trucks. You know, it's too soon to tell. We don't know where the cup package is going to take us this season in reality. So, I mean, it might work out. It might leave Gutierrez in a situation where, in a field full of rookies, it's him in prime contention for the title come end of season. I mean, it's very early to tell right now.
And we've got once again a big pack formed up here. I believe this is the same pack we were looking at earlier. Yeah. Christian Vargas is heading this with Joe Zeller. Vargas, once again, will reprise his seat in the Zero after just a torrid time last year. He'll be splitting this full-time competition in APCS as well, or ANCS rather. But hopefully Daytona Motorsports switch to Ford and linking up with Soaring Seagulls will help Vargas rekindle some of his Season 1 form that he achieved with the Soaring Seagulls outfit. But really, I think anything out of that number 0 team this year will be a step up from whatever happened last year with that team.
Yeah, it really was a disaster. Whoa, boy.
Oh, Kyle Driver in the 68. That's going to hold up Luke Evans.
Yeah. Not sure what you call that, if I'm honest. I think it might just be an experience.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
Some of these guys, it's their first time running a super speedway. So this is Derek Beatty's first time taking to the High Banks Daytona. However, on the other side of experience, one of the most experienced drivers in the field, Ben Crouch, is in the 40 this season. Precision Autosport. Close their doors, and Ben Crouch has found himself in that Repsol number 40 Toyota Camry for Full Send Racing. A very decent drive for a very underrated driver. And in that 21, just diving to his inside, that's Caden Lemon, who's been blessed with an Ongiorto seat in the 21, which ran part-time last season.
I'd like to touch on the driver of the number 11 that he's going by as well, Cameron Lopez, who, as we know, had his horrible wreck at Watkins Glen toward the end of last season, driving for Lautenschlager. Very good to see him back, and I think that this 11, which also was really one incident away from winning the title last year, this is a big chance for Lopez, who put in some okay runs with Lautenschlager, but it was a very hit-and-miss year last year. So this is his big break for the Portuguese driver.
Yeah, he's
one thing I'm noticing.
Sorry.
One thing I'm noticing already is that once again, just like we saw last year, the SSR cars on these super speedways are kind of in a league of their own. I saw Lopez be able to just drive off and away from the 21. And you see now pushing his teammates.
Look at that. Freeman.
Yeah.
Around the outside.
Yeah. I think Lopez is gonna go around the outside of the 88.
He is. Or just about.
We got it.
And that is going to be, once again, we'll have to see for APS as well. 21 coming down very close to the 08. I think the big thing in APS, they will have a 40-lap race at Daytona, will be who can challenge those 4 SSR cards. You're going to see, and I'm going to say it now, Daytona qualifying, the first 3 rows will be SSR and BPM. You know, I'm calling it now. I can't see anyone else getting close in Super Speedway stepped up. Yeah, those teams,
Yeah, but you never
league
know.
of their own. I mean, who else do you think, and as well, who is going to invest time into the APS cars when you've got this new Up Series generation of cars? And currently they're all spec. You know, any sort of R&D and upgrade time, you're going to spend it on the new cars. You know, these cars are 3 years old now. Some of them very much have been worked on quite sufficiently. So I think overall, not just for just for Daytona and preseason, but I think development in this field could definitely slow down.
Ooh, as Vargas was thinking about forward on Radval, but to answer your question, I feel like that at least we're definitely not going to see as much development with these cars as we've seen over the past 2 seasons when this was the marquee series. But on the point of SSR, we've run 4 super speedway races over the course of USARC's tenure so far, and yes, SSR has been at the front on Saturday in all 4. Now, they've only won 1 of them, and that was Cameron Brennan last season at Talladega. So, very much, it is still anyone's ballgame. And really, the team that has been at kind of the forefront of super speedway racing at the end has been 555. They've won this Daytona event 2 years running. It was Lotus Disparito in the 5 in Season 1, and Lexi Herman last season. Isaac Davis now behind the wheel of that 53. But yeah, so I think that it's going to be SSR that are going to be the dominant team in qualifying. But come the race, historical precedent says otherwise. And as we've been kind of saying, it's super speedway racing, so at the end of the day, I mean, anything can happen and anyone can win.
Well, not to play devil's advocate, but if you want to make it 6 super speedway races and count the duels from last season, they were SSR sweeps. They cleaned the floor. They wiped the floor clean, sorry. And with us having duels in both, having them in ANCS and APS this season, there's going to be opportunities for them to just do the same there. You know, I do think on single car speed, yeah, they are unstoppable. Within a race, a lot of the main question on everyone's minds last year in the race was just who could stop the SSR cars. And look at these 2 at the minute, just holding the line comfortably out in front. No one's mounting a challenge. But
Yeah, I mean, you see them just kind of pull away a little bit, but...
Having said that, only 1 SSR car is in the top 10 currently.
And that is the 01 of Justin Henley.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm not sure where these 2 are, but yeah, it is Justin Henley right now who's in the top 10.
Just trying to see in the final few minutes here, cars we haven't talked about much. That's the 10 of Nick Breeding making a step up into the Aaron's Pro Series. There we have Alexander Rowe. A lot more funding on that car this season in the 48 for Fallout Racing. It's Blake Card running full-time in the 57. They've also found some funding. William Ayers making a return to hopefully a more stable season in the 82 for Renegade Gutierrez Racing. Throughout the field, yeah, many changes this year. It's going to be a really exciting one.
Absolutely, as you see Lopez down pit road getting service. Another one of the silly season changes is, look at this field going 3 wide. The 23, that is GM Performance. Stephen Myers was actually, for his first outing in a USARC car, has very much kept this 23 in the pack. And I think that's good news for GM Performance. Definitely one of the smaller teams on in the field. With a bit of a rebrand and unfortunately not as much funding. It looks like that their Daytona package, at least right now, is not too bad.
Yeah, they're going to be running the same setup as last season, 1 full-time car and then 1 part-time car. And it looks like at the moment in the newly rebranded 7 that Freya Aradotta is set to run a handful of races with them.
Yeah, right now, though, I mean, you see the 23 sitting right now 8th in testing, so it's been quite a good test so far for this 23 machine. Because I'm not sure how much the field is separated by right now.
The fastest time was
pretty sure
47.1.
1. And then the worst is a 4. So about a second worst car right now, William Ayers. But it is just testing and is also Daytona.
Well, I wonder if, as well, if this is the first time that the 82 is running in a pack, and it'll be interesting to see whether it's now or in the extra 2 minutes you get at the end of the session if he sets a much faster lap. I will be interested to see if he does it this lap. 53 is the other car as well there. This, I mean...
No, not any better, I don't think.
No. And 53 is in this group. 14 as well, so the bottom 3 cars are all in this small pack here.
I think it's probably because, well, we've had a few small packs, so we'll see if those guys get a better lap time. But here is DT Jones and Kyle Driver coming down pit road, 2 of our rookies. Oh, well, thank you for coming along for preseason testing here for the Aaron's Pro Series at Daytona International Speedway. 20 minutes, you got to see 40 of the cars on track, and we are just absolutely ready here to start the USARC festivities. So thank you for joining for the first of, I believe, 4 preseason tests. We have another 2 coming your way at Daytona, and then an extra ANCS testing session on the new road course at Cape Cod. So we will see you for the next testing session, which I believe will either be ANCS or GTS here at Daytona. Thank you for watching.